Hey friends, welcome back to Rhubarb Patch Studio. I'm Leah Noel. You might notice right off the bat that my background looks a little different. That's because we've been rearranging our living space. We used to have a little sitting area in our kitchen, which you've seen on this channel before. When I did a Flosstube fill-in video, that's where I was sitting in our little coffee nook. But anyway, long story short, we decided to get rid of that space and to make it a very tiny dining room, which is in the kitchen, you know, so it kind of makes sense. But we just put we put a small dining table in there to fit the space, and we gave away our big table that we were using here in this space, along with all the chairs and everything. And we had this couch in storage because we had bought it for our previous place, and here we didn't feel like we had a space for it. So we're just we're trying to cycle through some of our belongings, you know, repurposing things, getting rid of things, downsizing maybe a little bit, just simplifying, you know, simplifying our living space. So anyways, that's all to say, now this space is more of a living room, or a sitting room, I guess, and it's still got the best lighting for these videos. And so I'm not totally comfortable here, honestly, filming it like this, but bear with me please as I get used to it. And you know, we wanted to do this, but change is still kind of hard sometimes. So anyways, I have a lot to show you today. The weather has been really great. This is my favorite month. May is my favorite month, and my rhubarb is looking amazing. I was gonna, you know, film an intro again out there like I did last year, but I just couldn't. So, anyway, rhubarb is doing great. All the flowers on our street have bloomed, like the trees. They bloom once a year. They're crab apples, and they've come and gone. I don't have any flowers yet in the garden. That's not true. My bleeding hearts have just come out, so that's exciting. Otherwise, not a lot of gardening for me this year. I feel a little overstretched, so I don't think I'm going to be able to maintain, you know, like annual flowers or anything like that, which is okay. You know, seasons of life. Okay, so I have a lot to show you today. I have my notes down here in front of me, so looking down at my notes. I have four finishes, one FFO and 2 UFOs. So that's kind of a lot to cross off my whip list. And I've got a whole bunch of whips that I touched between the last time I filmed and now. And I actually do have some plans to share with you, so let's get into it. All right, so first of all, I wanted to give you a little update on auto stitching. He's making noises downstairs. Otto is my son, and he's 7 years old, almost 7.5. He decided that he wanted to stitch this huge piece called Colored Sky, and it's a leisure art kit. The floss that comes in these kits is very it frays really easily, like it gets very fuzzy, and it just doesn't feel very strong. So I actually just laid out all the flosses and converted everything to DMC, and so I have him using DMC for this kit. But anyway, he thinks that this looks like lava, and he's basically obsessed with lava. He loves lava. So he talked me into letting him try this, and so he just does little by little. And here's his progress. Since you saw it last, he added a little bit of this orange here, and I think he might have added this line here. So slowly but surely, he really only has the patience to work on this like one length of thread at a time, because it's a pretty large project for a 7-year-old, a 7-year-old beginner. But it's just X's, and he's pretty good at counting, so he can do it. And we got a really special surprise in the mail from my friend Christina, who is quilting with Nico on Etsy. That's her Etsy store, and she runs an Instagram account under the same name, Quilting with Nico. She wanted Otto to have a project bag that matched his lava project. So she sent this with little volcanoes, erupting volcanoes. He's very excited. So thanks again, Christina. That was very nice. And she also sent along one of her amazing ort catchers. I love these ort catchers. You know, I've seen some ort catchers that like fold up, but honestly, I just like these flat ones because they just sit on your table or whatever stitching space you have, and they catch all your orts. So pretty amazing. She sells these in her store, and she also makes them custom to match whatever bag you have if you ask her to. So pretty great. All right, so that was Otto's update, and I gotta figure out how I'm gonna store everything in my new space here. Okay, and you know what, I forgot something. All right, I'm back. So speaking of Otto, this is his last week. He's going into his last week of first grade, and every year I like to make a cross-stitch gift for his teachers, and this year I felt like his teacher would appreciate this pattern. This is called Love Letter to the Cross-Stitch Nation by Heartstring Samplery. This is the model photo. You've seen this finish before, but now I have FFO'd it. So this is my FFO. I made some changes to the skin tones. I mostly just pulled flosses from my stash. I had a lot of these called for skin tones in my collection, but there were a few that I wanted to swap out, and then I also wanted to create this vitiligo effect on one of the hands, which I explained in, I think, my previous Flosstube, where I showed this finish. So, and then I just kind of changed the clothing colors to match what I think she would like. I think teal might be her favorite color, just based on, you know, observation. I'm not totally happy with this finish. You can see it doesn't, this frame is, this kind of pops out a little bit. It's not, this isn't a traditional frame. This is actually like, I went to Hobby Lobby and I just got one of those signs, you know, they've got those wooden signs, And I just found one that was as close to this size as possible. This is a really strange size. It just wasn't gonna fit a 5x7 frame, which is the closest thing. So it wasn't gonna fit 5x7, so I just kind of took the stitching to Hobby Lobby, and I brought a ruler with me, and I just sat there and like I measured all the openings of all of these like sign things, and this one happened to be the closest fit, and it's probably not what I would have chosen if I had my choice of everything in the world. And then I've made one finish like this before where I use a pre-made frame that the back doesn't come out, and you basically just cut the foam board to be just slightly smaller than the inside openings, and that way when you wrap it, all that bulky fabric will like help it to just like fit snugly into the wood frame. And I cut my foam board a little bit too small, so you can see that it doesn't even touch the outside all the way. And so I had to use hot glue, and I really didn't want to do that because what if she wants to redo it like later? I don't know. This might just be like my personal state right now. I'm just feeling a little bit anxious about a lot of things going on, and so I think it's just kind of playing into how I feel about this finish. But I know she'll like it, and I know a lot of you will tell me she's gonna love it. I know that's probably true. I just being real, you know? Anxiety, it's a thing. Okay. Finishes. I have 4 finishes. Okay. Number 1, polar bears. This is a Mill Hill buttons and beads kit. Again, this reminds me of my son Otto because these remind me of his favorite toys when he was a baby. And that beading took forever. It was a lot of beads, a lot more beads than you might expect. But very happy to have this done. I think I started this in 2018, like early 2018, maybe even end of 2017. I don't know, but it was a long time ago, and I've just been like chipping away at it here and there. It was fun. This is my first time stitching on perforated paper. I don't love stitching on perforated paper. I think going forward, I'm probably gonna find fabric for these Mill Hill kits. It is nice that it just stands up, you know, like that is nice. It's gonna make framing really easy. Speaking of frames, Mill Hill makes a like a dark blue frame with painted snowflakes, and I want to buy that the next time I go to a physical store, because last time I was in a physical store, I actually found those frames thinking I would just buy it then, but they only had one of them, and I didn't love the way the snowflake looked. So I'm really, you know, kind of picky about that. So I want to go to another LNS and see how the snowflakes look, and you know, just pick the best one. And I'm not really in a rush, so that's done. Let's see, that's okay. Next, next is a surprise. It's a surprise that I finished it. It's a surprise that it came out at all. But I have a friend on Instagram, her name is Julie, and not that one. And she started this Beez Sampler by Lilas Studio, and I already have this as a whip. I think I started it for Mania in like 2018. I started a lot of things in 2018. That was like my deep end stitching year. And this was a very thoughtful, sweet gift from Caitlin, who used to be Big Apple Stitching, and I don't know what her channel is now. She's kind of busy, you know, being a mom and still working, and just life stuff. So I will find her channel and I'll put it below like I always do when I mention people. But anyways, several years ago, like a lot of years ago, she had this major giveaway for one of her Flosstube celebrations, and I won. And she basically put together a curated package of things that I personally would like, and this was one of those gifts, and it was like so sweet. And she included the floss, the called for floss for this. So I found my own fabric. It is a white chocolate, it's 32 count white chocolate linen by Witchelt or Perman. They're the same, I think. And I stained it with coffee grounds. So I am calling this a finish. It just has taken me way too long to take it out, and I don't know what my holdup was, but basically I just decided, like, I started here and went this way, right? So I just decided I'm gonna cut it off right here, and I moved some of these motifs over here and put in the initials of my little family. So we've got Otto, the B was already there, his middle initial is B, so I thought I would leave it. So Otto, Rob, this is my initial LNH. It's like the initial, the symbol that I use. H for our last name, Hanley. And then I put 2023. And I thought, you know what? This is really, this is a really fitting piece for 2023 because we are so busy. Just, you know, the B, the industry, right? Symbol for industry and busyness. And it just fits this year. This year, I'm telling you, it's like, it feels like I'm strapped, like my hands are tied to the saddle of a horse and the horse is running and I'm just like trying to catch up. Like I'm just trying to not be dragged, you know? Like, it just feels like this year is going so fast and I can't keep up. So, yeah. So, this is a finish. Very happy to have this done. And I don't know when it will be fully finished. My husband calls those projects in purgatory, when they're stuck between being finished and being fully finished. Because that purgatory can last forever, you know, it could last for years and years and years. It just sits there unfinished, waiting to be FFO'd. So we call those projects in purgatory, or pips around here. All right, the other one, that was not it. Here's my notes. Okay. This one was an exciting finish for me. Okay, this is called Words to Live by Love by Heartstring Samplery. There it is. Yay. So it looks beautiful. I adopted this whip from my friend Amy, loves toads. And she just decided she didn't want to stitch words anymore. And you know, she loves animals. She's all about the animals. And I'm all about watching her stitch all those animals. And I too like to stitch my fair share of animals. But anyway, I really like these designs. They're charity designs. Heartstring Samplery donates 9 out of the $10 to a certain charity for designated to each of these patterns. So this is the back of the design, and you can tell where Amy left off and where I began, because Amy was very, very good about not carrying over her threads to the words, like between words. See, like no thread carrying over. Like, look at that. There's no threads between that little dot. And me, I just go ahead and I just carry all my threads. I just carry it. But you know what? You really can't tell. You really can't tell on this side. This is 40 count fog by Picture This Plus. See, like, you can't tell that I carried all my flosses, all my threads. So don't let it stop you is the moral of the story there. Don't be intimidated. Just carry it if you need to. Like, if that's just what you need to do, you just got to do it. So this, I stitched one other of these before, which is why I was very excited to adopt this whip from Amy. I stitched Words to Live By Justice, and I have it framed over there. And I was just planning to let this be a companion piece, but one of my best friends was watching me stitch this, and she just couldn't help herself. She had to ask if I could give it to her. And I was like, okay, you know, like when someone that you're close with asks you to stitch something for them because they love it so much, like, how can you say no to that? So this is done. This will be FFO'd this year and gifted this year. So very excited. Thanks again, Amy, for letting me have that. Before I put this away. So I ran out of the floss. I was down at the very bottom. I had just I had some of this word to do and then all of this row left to do, and I ran out of the thread, which is Winter Sea by Color and Cotton. It was discontinued, so I couldn't get it from Color and Cotton. And I had a Color and Cotton subscription for quite a while, and so I thought maybe I would have something similar in my collection. I didn't have Winter Sea, but I did find Prussian Blue, which seemed to be a pretty good match, actually. So I stitched up the rest of Perseveres here, so like the end of this word, and then I stitched Love down here, but you can kind of tell, I don't know, maybe can you tell in the video that it's just a little bit lighter than everything else. And so you know, we're talking, I have a wave of anxiety right now, so I was looking at it and I was thinking about my friend, and I was like, this is like lighter than the other ones, and or than the other one, and I just was concerned that that my friend would notice and that it would bother her. And if it was just me, like, I would not be bothered at all with just using this. So anyway, I posted on Instagram, I posted the whole saga, like playing thread chicken with what I had left, losing that game, you know, not having enough to finish, trying to find a substitute and how that was going. And two kind souls reached out to me and said that they had some Winter Sea that they could send to me. And I just decided to take them up on that kind offer because it was gonna, you know, relieve my anxiety about this. So so I received a package from Jen Lee of Quirks and Stitches, and she sent me her leftover Winter Sea. So it's slightly darker than the skein that I had. So what I did is I took this light match and I kind of used both in the last line. Like I used some of the dark Winter Sea for a stretch of letters, and then I switched to this for like a few letters, and then back to this one, and I think you can't really tell. Like, you can't really tell. So it worked out really well. Thanks so much to Jen for sending me this. And also, Julia, I wanted to say thank you to you as well, because you were the other person who offered me your skein. And so just thank you both. Thank you. And then Jen also sent me a few extra goodies. Let's see, in this beautiful bag, and some, there's a little skein of beautiful pink silk floss and some floss drops, and like there's a flamingo pattern in there, and a little thingy ring thing. So thank you so much. That was very unexpected, and she said just a few extra things for myself or to give away. So thank you. All right, so at this point I can't show you my fourth finish. It's Free and Brave. I showed it in my whip parade, but I just don't want to show it until it's gifted. So once it's FFO'd, I will show you. I promise I will show you that FFO. But let's see, looking at the time here. Okay, so two other things I wanted to show you that I UFO'd. Where did they go? There they are. Okay, two things that I am UFOing. So number one, I am UFOing this Sunshine by Annie B's Folk Art. I started this on the anniversary of the war, and I just can't muster enthusiasm to stitch this right now. And also I think 36 count is too small, and I don't have this in a large count, and I just there's like specialty stitches in the grass that you can't really see very well. But this whole grass section is like a mosaic stitch or something, and it just doesn't look right on 36 count. And so I was just, you know, I was just struggling with the whole thing, and I decided that I'm just gonna UFO it. I'm just gonna deal with that some other time, maybe find something else or not, and I think either is okay. The other thing that I'm UFOing is the annual border for now. I'm UFOing it for now, but I do plan to restart this, and that'll get more into my plans. But I bought this as a kit from the Drawn Thread website, and the design, the cover model was stitched on something that you can't really find anymore. I think it was like an R&R linen, and so the kit comes with this natural, it's like a natural linen. It doesn't tell you exactly what it is, but it's really kind of a natural linen. And I was trying to stitch it as called for with one strand of silk over 2 threads on 32 count. And well, it looks a lot darker in the video than it does in real life. Like sitting here, like the lighting is pretty good for reading it, but it's not bold enough. This natural fabric, I really struggle to enjoy stitching on natural fabric. I think it's too brown. Like, I feel like the colors just get lost in it, and I just don't like it. So I found a different fabric, and I'll talk more about that towards the end when I get to plans. So I'll put that there. So now you've seen my FFOs and finishes, and let's go on to whips. Whew. So it's been a busy month, and I often take this whip with me to like appointments or like gymnastics practice or places where I'm just going to be stitching. I just got a long stretch of time to stitch. This is called Portuguese Bird Sampler by Anna Barbara. I am doing a complete color conversion with Color and Cotton floss. I love how it's coming out. And this is on French Lilac, I believe, by Lakeside Linens. So 36 count French Lilac by Lakeside Linens, Color and Cotton floss, 100% Color and Cotton floss. And I just want it to look like a party, you know, like very tropical, which I think it's definitely turning out to be that way. When I just need some easy stitching, I just start working on these borders. I'm stitching this in hand, and 36 count makes it really easy. The borders I'm stitching with just one strand, and like some of these borders as well I'm stitching with just one strand, but then all these letters and all these motifs are going to be 2 strands over 2. And yeah, I think this alphabet I did 1 strand over 2. I'm just, you know, I'm being selective about where I use 1 strand versus 2, but either way I'm stitching in hand with the sewing method, and I just think it goes so much faster and it makes borders a lot more tolerable when I can stitch it in hand, because I'm not necessarily enjoying the motif when it's so repetitive. So at least I can kind of enjoy like how fast I can stitch. I gotta find some way to make it super fun, you know, like I feel like that's important. So all these baubles need to be filled in, and I say baubles because they look like little baubles. See that border? That border is one of the reasons I actually fell in love with this design. I don't normally like borders, but this just reminds me of like a string of lights. So I gotta pick out my flosses for those, and I'll satin stitch the little baubles. So this whole design, the whole thing is designed, it's charted in regular cross stitch, but I am just kind of using specialty stitches as I go here and there, like this whole border here. You can see I've used, I think it's a Smyrna stitch for these. I really like the way it's coming together. So I think even the verse is, it's not over 1, I think it's over 2. So I think you can actually do this on Ada if you wanted. So that's received a lot of attention this month. All right. Recently, I went up to Canada. We drove up. It was, my husband surprised me with a weekend trip to Canada because it's been a stressful month, and he knew that I just needed a break. And it's just fun to go someplace where you don't really get to go very frequently. So we went up to Canada, and I brought this Bargello sampler to stitch in the car. And so I I got a lot of progress on this. I don't have a cover photo. This is by Mary Hickmott. I think that's her name, Mary Hickmott. She's on Etsy, and she's been a designer for quite a long time, and I know that she's had things published in like magazines and stuff, so I'll put her Etsy store below. This design she has charted for reds, and I just picked purples. It's all DMC, and I'm really enjoying this one. It's very easy to do, what is this, 22 count Hardanger? That's just white, antique white Hardanger fabric, and I just really enjoy this. I would really like to get this done this year if I can, but I'm not going to pressure myself to do that if I can't get it done. So while we were in Canada, I just thought, why don't I see if there's any needlework stores in Canada? And there are. And it just so happened that it was right across the street from where my husband wanted to take us for breakfast. And so we just walked over and it was open, and I was in heaven. I was like, oh my gosh. It is called Needlepoint Place. Needlepoint Place. The owner was there. Her name is Iwa. I don't know if it's Eva or Iwa. She is a designer, mostly of needlepoint designs. So her store is mostly geared to needlepoint projects, and I don't do needlepoint, although I'm interested. But she did have an anchor display, and it was regular skeins of floss, and so I decided to treat myself. Hang on a second. Hang on. I decided to treat myself to all the anchor purples. I just got one of every anchor purple. Yep. Because anchor has more purples than DMC, and they're different purples as well. So, and I am trying to buy less plastic. So when anchor switched to those plastic bobbins, I just decided, like, I can live without anchor floss, you know. But yeah, in Canada, and I've heard in other like countries other than the US, anchor doesn't do the plastic bobbins. They just have regular skeins like this. And so so I was pretty excited to see these, and just one of every purple. And then I also decided to get Splendor silk. This is a 12 ply silk made in France. It's a Rainbow Gallery silk. Very pretty purple. It's like, it's close to my very favorite shade of purple. And then I decided to get some Whisper in black, because, you know, who knows, I might decide to stitch a black sheep, and I cannot stop myself from using Whisper on a cross stitch sheep. I just can't. It has to be fluffy. So that was a very exciting stop for me. Totally, as if being in Canada was not good enough, this like put me over the edge. Okay, so next, Pavane for these times. One of my viewers reached out to me last video and was like, can I please just correct your pronunciation of this word? I've been calling this Pavane because, you know, Upper Midwest, we like to pronounce every letter in every word. So, yeah, I've been calling it Pavane. And old habits die hard, so it might slip out every now and then, but I do value correct pronunciation of words, especially I do. So I'm going to try to call this Pavane. Pavane for these times. Apparently it is a dance. And so I'm stitching this with my good friend Jenny, Jenny Fleming. She is formerly known as Long Dog Stitcher. She's not doing floss tubes anymore, but we keep in touch, and we're doing this together. This is my first long dog, and this is not her first long dog. She tries to stitch every long dog, so she was excited to try or to have one more, you know. Okay, so here is my progress. I am trying to get one page finish per month, and so far I, by my own standards, I have been able to complete one page per month. So this is one page, this is one page, this is the center. So I did the center page, then I went here, here's the third page done. I did leave this opening because I don't know what motif I want to put there, so by my account, this page is done, and I just decided to work more on this page for the month of May. And May is almost over, and I don't think this is going to be finished, but I'll probably work a little bit on this today, so we'll see how far I can get. It's a very nice, like, therapeutic kind of a stitch because there's just one color, don't really have to think about it. It's got the perfect amount of counting on each of those motifs, not a ton of fill-in. It's just great. I'm using Silks for You PR132. I bought a whole skein of that floss, and it's gonna last me forever. This is 40 count, limited edition by Picture This Plus. It's a very light blue. You can kind of tell compared to this white paper, this white background paper. It's like a very light tealy blue, and then this is a very dark tealy blue. So really liking that. And Jenny just whips it out, you know, she's just like, done. Page, you know, and she's very good about sticking to each page, which I wish I was better at it, but I'm not. And it's okay. All right. I try to bring this one out once a month. This is a Fair Lady Sampler by GGR. This is my working copy. It, I did a color photograph, not photocopy. I did a color photocopy of my chart here, and it just copied really yellow, so it looks better than it looks here, but so once a month I stitch on this because it reminds me of my bestie from we've been best friends since 5th grade, so this kind of reminds me of her. And so once a month, this year we have a resolution to talk once a month on a certain day every month, and that's the day that I pull this out and work on it. And I can pull it out more than that, but if I want to, but I haven't a whole lot. Anyway, since you saw it last, I think I added this up here. I might have finished, I think I finished these leaves here. I might have added this. might have done work with on these dresses, but I'm not sure if you've seen that yet or not. This is 32 count. I think it's like Irish Spring or something by Color and Cotton. Some kind of Ireland name. It's very springy green. Really like it. It's working out pretty well, I think. And the more I stitch, I think the more I'll like it even more, yeah. Okay. Next I pulled out Arc of White because I'm stitching this with my friend Amy. Amy loves toads, and she was working on hers at the end of April, I think, like the whole last week of April or something. So I brought mine out and I stitched on it with her. This one stays in the Q-snap. And I love this so much, especially since I changed the fabric. I'm just really loving it a lot more. So I'm stitching this on 32 count Cyprium, and I really like what Amy's stitching hers on too. She kind of inspired me to change my fabric choice from this really dark blue that I was having a hard time stitching on. So I think Amy's is what is it, Lakeside, some Lakeside Wood Smoke? I think, whoop! That was almost a disaster. Okay, so yeah, hers is like Vintage Wood Smoke. I think it's really great and woodsy, and I think this is also woodsy, just like a different time of year, you know. Since you saw this last, I really just focused on filling this out, and I started on this little leaf down here. I am using a ball tip needle, which I just noticed is missing. I'm gonna have to find that. But the ball tip needle really works so well on a darker fabric because you can just more easily see the lines of your, like the threads of your fabric. It's working out really well. I'm using the called for a white silk here, but I've chosen my own colors for the plants. Sorry about that dinging. I have my work phone sitting over there, and it's the weekend, and normally I just turn it off, but I forgot to do that. And all right, so next up is what I'm calling Sleeping Bunny, and it is by Madame Chantilly, April, Dolce, Dormire. Okay. I just think it this whole scene reminds me of my childhood. You know, got my parents here working hard, and I'm just sleeping here on a big old carrot. So, under the shade of a flowering vine. I had the urge to stitch on this this year, and I've just been getting a lot of it done. So I think this is definitely in the running for getting finished this year. I'm stitching it on a 28 count Cocoa Gingham fabric by Weeks Dye Works. Here's my progress. So I am doing a little bit different colors. I found a variegated green for this grass and for the vine leaves. I found some variegated flosses for the clothes and the flowers. The flowers are like a little bit purple, and the dress is going to be purple. And these little tails, I put Whisper in their little tails. I don't know if you can see that. So before I started putting this wheelbarrow on here, it kind of looked like they were at a burial site. It was a little bit morbid. My husband was trying to convince me to make this dirt instead of grass so that it would look like they definitely had just buried somebody. And because he's, you know, he likes comedy and funny things, and it was funny, but I couldn't do that. So I'm starting on the wheelbarrow now. I'm gonna make it this dark blue, like these dark blue stripes here. I'm gonna just kind of color match right there, and the little bunny will be wearing a little purple dress. So that's coming along pretty well. I'm stitching this in hand as well, and 28 count with 2 strands, it works pretty well to stitch in hand. I'm not a person who really cares so much about if my threads are railroaded or not. I just feel like you can't tell if it's from a distance, and so I don't care so much. I'm gonna turn off that phone. Okay. Next up is Wilbur. This was a gift from my sweet friend Debbie, who is a Minnesota stitcher. We went to StitchCon together, and I was admiring this at the trunk show and kind of daydreaming about putting a little web here and, you know, just like Charlotte's web. And she just decided to get it for me because I was admiring it so much. So, where did I put it? So, I'm stitching this on a 32 count fossil linen by Picture This Plus with all the called for colors, and I'm using another ball tip needle for this fabric, and it's really great. Actually, this is a 36 count. Sorry, this is a 36 count fabric. I wanted it to be a little bit smaller so that when I'm using 2 strands of thread, like there's really good coverage. Because it's such a dark fabric, I didn't want my X's to be super visible. So, so that's as far as I have. Not super far, but it was really hard to read this chart because the symbols were very similar. Like the font, the symbols are mostly letters, and the font makes them look just really similar. So like an S next to a B, a capital B, and a C, and it was not good to read. So I took like an hour of my stitching time, and I sat down with the chart, and I'm going to show you from a distance. I used a different color to highlight where the different symbols are, so that I can see visually where my colors are going. So I didn't highlight all of the symbols, just the ones that I felt would be like right next to each other, the ones that are right next to each other, and that they have a similar you know, look. So I think I maybe used 4 or 5 different colors throughout the whole chart, and just kind of highlighted, and now it's so much easier to stitch. Since I did this, I picked back up, like I started here in this yellow spot, and right away I found that I had made an error, like a counting error. It was very easy to fix, but this just made it so much easier. So that's my tip. If you have Wilbur and you're struggling to read the chart like I am, try this. Use contrasting colors. It could help. It could help a lot. So I'm doing that, and I know Amy's going to start that too pretty soon, so that'll be another one that we're stitching kind of together. But All right. Just a few left here. So, this is Faith, Hope, Peace, Love by Teresa Kogut, and I'm stitching this kind of as an anniversary piece. I'm hoping to have this done by my 20th anniversary. I'm not sure if it's gonna happen because it's kind of a beast. I decided I'm gonna just take out this middle section. That was my first thought anyway, just to take it out and to squish these two sections together. And then I was thinking about, oh, maybe I'll keep it because I really like the font. Like maybe I'll keep it and like put a saying in there or like song lyrics or something along those lines. And I'm just like at the point where I just want this thing done. And I'm just gonna cut out that middle section and sandwich, you know, just squeeze it down. This is another one where I've made a total color conversion. I'm stitching it on my favorite Ada, which is Icon by Picture This Plus, and it's a 16 count Icon by Picture This Plus. The colors are inspired by a painting that I have in my home and also as a companion piece to something else that I stitched with the same color palette. So this is where I am so far. So I've been, I had a stretch of days where I was on a work trip and somebody else was driving, and so while he was happy to drive, I was happy to stitch, and he did not mind that I just sat there and stitched. And so I filled in all of these flowers, and it doesn't look like much when you're just sitting here, you know, looking at it. It doesn't look like a lot of work, but these 3 flowers, I think probably that might have been like 8 hours or more of stitching. It was a lot of stitching, a lot of fill in. So that's mostly what I did. I just did that. And then I think I added this line here, and I think I also started to fill in, his jacket, the bottom of his jacket. So just a lot of fill in stitching, which, you know, it's not my favorite thing, but it does make for a really good car trip, you know, car ride fill in, because it's just 16 count Ada, and yeah, just sat there and did that for a while. I don't know. I mean, I really love this design, and I love the colors that I'm using, and I love just everything about it, but I don't often love stitching on it, so I don't know if it'll get done by our 20th anniversary, because we're already coming up on 18 this year, so I don't know. We'll see. Okay, just got a little interrupted there. Here's another one that I take traveling sometimes. I don't always stitch it like in the car, but I do like to stitch on it when I'm someplace that I know I have like a solid chunk of time, you know, like, because I don't highlight my chart, and I need to be able to color complete a whole symbol in a whole section. So I just need to know that I've got enough time to do that. Anyway, so I've been trying to focus on this one so that I can get it done. I really would like to get it finished this year. This is Seashell Treasures by Dimensions Gold, and it's a Dimensions Gold Petite. I'm sort of stitching it for my mother-in-law, but I don't know that I'll give it to her, just because I don't know that she'll want it. I know that my husband would like it though, if I personalize it, you know, like add her name. That's okay. We were done looking at it anyways. Okay, I almost lost the needle. So I've learned from other stitchers that if you keep a long length of floss on your needle, it's easier to find when it falls off. And that's case in point just now when this fell on the floor and my needle fell off, and I found it very easily because of that long piece of thread. Okay, two more here. I have a friend who is getting married next year in April, and so I went out and I found a, this is called Strawberry House by the Scarlett House. I think that they will like this, and I'm gonna personalize it with the date of their wedding probably up there, maybe their initials or something, but yeah, this is a close friend that I have, former coworker, and just very excited. So I decided to start this. I pulled the flosses from my own collection, and where did I put it? Okay. Okay, sorry. So I pulled flosses from my own collection, and I pulled a fabric from my own collection. This is 36, hang on, 36 count Petite 4 by, this is Kitten Stitchers Wabi Sabi fabrics. I think it's a beautiful gray. I mean, look how well that white shows up on it. So, and the red just looks amazing on it. I'm just very excited. So very much looking forward to having this stitched up. I think it's a lot of fill-in, but it'll be okay. Like, stage of life right now, I need a little bit of that simplicity. So it's a good start, and I'm really liking how the colors are looking. I brighten up all my colors, you know, so I think the called for makes it look just a little bit more antiqued, and I just go for it with all the colors. So there's that. And then the last thing is a new start. So I had so many finishes and an FFO. I was feeling so accomplished. So I reached out to my friend Julie, who is Dancing with Needles on Instagram. We kind of had a soft agreement that if we could finish some things, we could start something together. So I finished some things, and I saw on her Instagram page she also finished some things. So we decided to have a Quaker start. So this is Quaker House Samplers by Carriage House Samplings, and I decided to start this small one. I've admired this design for a long time, but I just recently was inspired to kit it up because my friend Christina, Quilting with Nico, she gifted me this beautiful color and cotton fabric for my birthday last year, and I felt like this would be the perfect design to use it on. And I'm using flosses from my collection, which are Roxy Floss Co. flosses, and this is actually my first time using them. But I just picked a springy palette for this purple fabric, and let me put it together here for you so you can see. So this, this light color is not white. It's actually very, very light purple. And I wished that I had a dark purple instead, but I think the white is gonna look fine. And then there's these 2 greens, and it's just 3 flosses for this design. So I think it's gonna be very simple and just nice to stitch. And I've already stitched this house. I think it looks fine. And then this light green for the middle motif there, and I think it's gonna be good. I think it'd be nice and springy. And I like purple and green together. It's like one of my favorite color combinations. Whew. Okay. Oh my goodness, I think that was all the whips. Yeah, I think that was everything. So let me just make sure that's safe up there. Okay. Man, I'm gonna have to get used to this new setup and just how everything is arranged. Okay. So now I've got news and plans. The best news of all, there is a new stitcher, and it's my sister. My middle sister came to visit me, and I've been asking her if I can teach her how to stitch for years now, because I think she's got the personality that she would actually really enjoy stitching. And she kind of thought, you know, I might be right about that, but she just wasn't willing to do it. I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't know if she just didn't want to start a new thing, or I don't know what the hang up was, but finally, we knew she was coming for a visit, and she was in the headspace to learn how to cross stitch. So she found a kit in advance, and it's adorable. It's an adorable little bunny, and I hope that maybe next time I film, I would really like to show you what she's done so far. And I really hope that I can convince her to get on a video with me, but I know she's a little bit skittish about doing that kind of stuff. But anyway, I just had to share my news. Even though I don't have anything to show you, I'm just so excited that my sister is stitching. I'm very excited. Okay. I wanted to tell you about this app that I've been using. Many of you already watch Blitz Stitch. Brian is a stitcher. He's a longtime Flosstuber. He lives in Utah, and he stitches amazing samplers, like reproduction samplers, and he also stitches Hades and Lavender and Lace, and just a lot of like really awesome things. And he's very calculated about how he stitches. He came up with the diagonal stitching method, which I've talked about before, and I've linked those videos before in previous videos. He's just like such a great member of our cross-stitching community, and he has applied his talents yet again to create this cross-stitch app. It is called XS Journal. It's currently only for Apple because he's an Apple user, and he says that it's a little bit tricky to make it for both platforms, both Apple and Android platforms, but for now it's just an Apple product. There is a free version that you can download and just like see if you would use it, and I think you can load up to 3 projects on that app before you have to pay, and I think it's maybe $6, like one time fee, $6 to use this app. It is totally worth it for me. So this app, you catalog your projects. That's, first of all, you do that. You enter the information of your project, and you can get as detailed or as not detailed as you want. Like, it's got It's got a space for your name, the name of the designer, the name of the project, the thread count, the flosses, any extra notes that you have, the stitch count. So start and finish dates, that kind of thing. So once you have your project loaded, you can set a timer for your stitching. So like, for example, I just loaded this one up yesterday. I put in all that information about my project, and then once all that information was there, I added a picture. You can do that, you can add a picture. And then when I wanted to start it, I just clicked a button and I said start stitching. And at that point, the timer starts. And if you have to take a break, you can pause your stitching. Or if you just want to stop, you can stop your stitching. And so what it will do is it will keep track of the time that you are investing in your stitching per project. And it has a page that you can pull up, and it will show a graph of how much time you're spending on each project. You can also enter your stitches, counted stitches, if you are a stitch counter. So like if you're a Haid stitcher and you use Pattern Keeper and it tells you how many stitches you did that day, you can enter your stitches and it will keep track of your percentage of completion on that project. I think it will also project how many days you have left based on how many stitches you do in one session. It's just really such a useful thing. And I find that it's very easy for me now that it's part of my routine. I can just take out my phone, click that I am starting to stitch, and then end my stitching session. It also allows you to go back and manually add a stitching session if you forgot to start and stop your timer, or if you want to modify your pause time or all that stuff. It's just so great. And I really, I can't say enough how awesome Brian is about making this useful to stitchers. He uses it himself. It came from a place of, not having this kind of app available prior to him building one and then making it available for us. And I've reached out to him a few times now with some little glitches that I've encountered. He's fixed those. He's addressed my concerns. I even messaged him about something that I should have been able to do, but I just didn't know how to use the app correctly. So, he's just very patient and just such a good person. So I just encourage you to check out XS Journal, the app on Apple. Okay. My plan for this year, for the rest of this year, is just to finish as many whips as I can. And I've gone through and I've selected 10. There's 10 remaining whips that I think are finishable this year. You saw a few of them today. You haven't seen all of them, but Pavane, for these times, that's one of them, because I want to do one page finish each month and finish that by the end of the year with Jenny. Seashells is pretty close. That bunny, sleeping bunny. There's just a list of projects that I think are attainable. A finish is attainable, and I really want to focus on those. So that's kind of the plan going forward. I do have some starts that I have planned that might actually get started relatively soon. So I mentioned this before, the annual border by the Drawn Thread. Dana at Gemstone Stitches, she is going to buy this pattern. Dana, I am so sorry if I confused you about whether this is called the annual border or the perennial border. The Drawn Thread did make both, and I can never remember which one this is, but I have the annual border, and Dana is going to kit this up and we're going to start it together. So let me show you the fabric that I purchased. I bought this kitted from the Drawn Thread website, which I'll link below. And like I said, it came with this natural fabric. It came with just the right amount of flosses. I think if I run into an issue where I don't have enough of this floss, it's no problem. I'm just gonna buy that skein of floss because I stitch enough Drawn Thread that I know I'll use it eventually. I found this 32 count Country French Latte Linen by Witchelt. And it's just like a creamy neutral. I'll show you the difference. So you can see that this natural fabric is a little bit grayer. It's a grayer browner fabric, and then this Country French Latte is just, it's creamier, it's yellower. And I think it'll look really, really good with these flosses. So there's messy floss toss for you. I just think it's gonna look really good. This is the floss, the center floss, with one strand. I'll show you. That, I think it's gonna look fine, that light green. And I might just use 2 strands. I don't really know. I don't know yet, but I'm gonna figure that out later. But anyway, that's on the horizon. It's definitely gonna be restarted this year. And I'll just wait for Dana to get her materials, and that'll be fun to start together. And then the other one is Ann Woodall. So I watch Megan, Wide-Eyed Stitcher, and she's the one who introduced me to Ann Woodall. I don't have a printed picture of it, so I'll have to insert it. But I love seeing Megan's updates on Ann Woodall, and I found that I was missing it. Like, she would show it, and the first time she showed it, I was like, oh, you know, that's nice. It didn't like strike me as, oh my gosh, I must have that. But then as she was stitching it and showing it, and then not stitching it and not showing it, I found that I was really missing it, and I was really looking forward to any time that she would show it. So then I thought, you know what? I think this one is speaking to me somehow, and I think I know why, and I think I need to just kit this up and see where this takes me. So I did. I bought the PDF from Smoky Mountain Stitches on Etsy, and I will link that below. Their PDF does work on Pattern Keeper, which is awesome. There's a little section of over one stitching which is not going to work on Pattern Keeper, but the rest of it is totally compatible, and it works. So I went through my stash, and I really liked Megan's use of like a smoky purpley bluish color. And I went through what I have in my collection, and I pulled some flosses. It's not made for DMC, and the DMC conversion was just a little bit strange in some places. So I pulled some other colors, and I just kind of made it work for me. And let me see if I can show you. I have this picture, or I have this piece of beautiful blue fabric in my collection. It's Roxy Floss Co. 32 count blank slate linen. And hopefully I can hold this up for you. Okay, so this is my floss toss and on this beautiful blue linen, and I think it's going to look really nice. The white is just totally popping. So that big white deer is gonna be just wow. And those pink and blue flowers, oh, just very much looking forward to this. So I think I might start this in June. Yeah, I might. So that's kind of like one of my plans. And then the last plan that I wanted to share with you is very exciting. I'm going to the Silver Needle in July. The Drawn Thread is hosting a class at the Silver Needle in July. I think co-hosting with Summer House Stitchworks, which I also like that designer. And I have multiple Summer House Stitchworks designs, but I don't think I've started any of them. Anyway, I am very excited. I'm honestly a little bit nervous. I don't know anyone who's going. If you're going, please let me know. The only other retreat I've ever been to, and I don't know, is this a retreat or just class? I don't really know. But it was the Drawn Thread, so I felt like I had to be there. I had to go. Anyway, the only other retreat I've ever been to was StitchCon, and I was so overwhelmed at StitchCon. It doesn't help that we had just come out of the pandemic, and you know, I was in a room of 300 people. I'm not great at meeting new people, even if I know that it's other stitchers. So, you know, I just that was a lot to process for me. It was great and so fun, and I would do it again, definitely. But I just thought I would try a smaller event, you know, smaller amount of people, less commotion. Also the Drawn Thread. I'm so excited. So let me know. Let me know if you're going, or if you know someone who's going. Let me know if you've ever been to the Silver Needle classes or retreats. Are they retreats? What do I need to know? Like, the website is a little bit sparse as far as information about it. It says something about a smalls exchange. Like, do I have to do that? Or can I just like opt out? It said something else about like a fundraiser that's going on. Does anyone know what that's about? Just let me know. Reach out to me if you have any experience. So yeah, thought I would just kind of share that news. I'm pretty excited. I finally bought my plane ticket and my hotel, and I'm renting a car, and it's gonna be kind of a whirlwind trip for me because I'm flying into Oklahoma City and driving from there, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, but also just thinking about it. Okay. Wow, that is it for me today, and that was a lot. So thanks for hanging in there with me. And yeah, I wasn't sure if I would even get this video in this month. It was kind of a tough month to get anything in, and next month I should have no problem getting a video in. I hope I'll have no problem. Probably in about a month. July is going to be a different story. I probably won't film in July. Maybe August. we'll just have to see. There's so many things going on. Okay, well, anyway, I feel like I've talked a lot. I've talked enough. I've showed you a lot. I've showed you enough. And I hope that everyone's doing well. And if you enjoyed what you saw here, I invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And yeah, my contact information is below, and along with all of the people and places and shops and whips and finishes and everything that I mention, I always put it in the description below, just in case you are new to this community and you want to find out how to get connected to everything and everyone. And I'm seeing this. So The Secret of Nim, anybody? Have you watched that movie? It's my favorite movie, and my husband found this in a store somewhere, and it's one of my favorite movies. It's the reason why I wear this ring there. So anyway, all right, that's enough for today. I hope everyone's doing well, and we'll see you again hopefully in about a month. So take care, everyone. Bye.